Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Cambridge Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood, and I'm here with director Heidi Hartwig with her movie Wonder Valley. Let's take a look at a clip.
I'm going to the desert with Cloudy today. I feel like something big's gonna happen this weekend. I don't know what it is, but I'm not afraid that I'll be alone anymore.
Heidi, I don't even know where to begin because I'm astounded by the greatness of what you've achieved. But for those, or Heidi, for those that haven't seen Wonder Valley, tell us a brief synopsis.
It's great. It's a young girl story about, wanting to fit in and have friends and be cool. And it's a very Los Angeles story, but essentially the premise is 4 girls. They go on a weekend getaway to Joshua Tree. And,
one of the beautiful places ever.
One of the most beautiful places ever. And they embark upon a hallucinogenic. They take drugs for the weekend. It's what people do in the desert.
Yeah.
So they take this hallucinogenic, and one girl sort of has a break due to the drugs, and so you sort of don't know if she's hallucinating the whole time or sort of like doesn't come back from the trip, quote unquote. So it's a desert trip movie, and it's the relationships of young women that are trying to find their footing and find their groups of friends and get in with the people they want to be with, and then also have dark demons and psychological undertones of their past, and sometimes with the right concoction it sort of can bring out the beast in you.
Absolutely.
And so that was what it was. It was these internal emotions that this girl is having, and she's trying to keep it in check to be cool for the weekend, and sadly she couldn't really keep it all together, and it's due to the drug taking, which was a real drug. The premise was based on this drug called Datura. It is a hallucinogenic. I think they call it the devil's seed or something. You do not want to take this drug. Please don't take this drug. Datura is a bad hallucinogenic, but it is a real plant, and people do take it, and you often see people that aren't there, and it has just this very dangerous effect on individuals. And so that's what happened. She had a breakdown. Becomes homicidal.
I was in Mexico once, and I think they gave me something that was herbal that sounds a bit very familiar. I think I've just discovered it. Anyways, but no, what's so incredible, what you just said, was the fact that you said about these people find themselves and everything else. People come to California all over to find themselves, and I related to that factor of you try and find yourself, you try and fit in, you're trying to find your way in life and everything else. And I think we've all can relate and been through that, but I love that. And my goodness, I don't know where to begin. I can't quite understand. This is your first feature film that you've made.
Yeah.
You shot this film in 13 days. It was written by a female, directed by a female, starred these incredible actresses as well. That must be a great feeling to be making your first feature film and just doing this, right?
I mean, you have dreams and you have goals, and it's just something that's always been repeating in my mind. I want to make a film, I want to make a movie, I'm dreaming to make a movie, and then sometimes the universe just provides. And this opportunity fell upon my lap. As a director, you want to be this auteur, you want to write your own story and tell this big story that's from you and your personal experiences, and I'm on that journey and that path, but this was the first best way possible, where not being connected to the material because it wasn't my blood, sweat, and tears on the page, it just let me concentrate on visual storytelling and telling a story in that way, because I wasn't as connected as a writer is when you're so committed to something that you wrote. So for me, it was a dream come true because it really let me concentrate on visual storytelling, and what, who I am stylistically and aesthetically, and, what my vibe is, and the way that I would tell an emotional story through visuals, you know.
And that's the one thing as well. Like, I mean, you've got this, you know, really quite wonderful story, but you know, there's certain times I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this person must be a photographer or something, because it was so photographically, the visuals that you created was so beautiful, and of course.
Thank you. Yes,
that's your world. That's your field. Obviously, that was important to you to kind of, you know, have wonderful visuals throughout the whole film, obviously.
You know, that's my strong suit, and that was my fallback. I can compose imagery, and certainly I can compose still imagery. When you put something to motion, it becomes, you know, a huge beast. But, you know, that was my comfort zone, was making something beautiful. You know, the hard stuff in filmmaking is like having believable story and actors and stuff. But, you know, as my first film, being in this sort of psych horror realm, it lends itself to being this exploratory, you know, because horror, you can be pessimistic and you can kind of go down different avenues with it. And then also just the movie it's about taking drugs. So, you know, it also lends itself to sort of like, you know, avant-garde storytelling, because I can sort of start here and go there, and it's all like, we're all tripping anyway, right? You know? So it lends itself to sort of bend traditional story arcs or, you know, just the approach and everything.
You obviously got an amazing collaboration, and you know, you always know when you know, a script writer and a director work so well together, and you can just, you know, you feel just coming off the page. Tell us about that relationship, because, you know.
Yes, let me tell you about that relationship. You know, Rhiannon is an AFI grad, and so she went to school for script writing, and you know, she was really adamant of wanting to support females and only wanted to have a female director work on her first project. That was very important to her. And I had recently come off of a music video where I utilized some of friends of hers. So I didn't know her, but I had worked with this actress, Kristen Ritter, and she was in a music video for me, and I had some other people in it. And so I met this little kind of crew of girls. And, you know, that's how LA is. You get in with people where you feel they're like-minded, and they're artists, and they want to help on this project, and you help on that project. And so I met this young group of ladies, and they were just, you know, the youth is amazing. They make things happen. They, you know, they're writing and thinking, and, you know, just they wanted to make this happen. And I was so enthusiastic as well from their energy. And so it was really fast and quick of like, this sounds like a great project. I want to be involved, and here's what I would do. And so I created a mood board, lookbook, and
love it, yeah.
You know, my references of like how I would approach it, and you know what I would do. And then it was sort of like, I think we had like a Skype meeting, because I was in New York and they were here, and I hadn't even met Rhiannon at the time. And I said, you know, I'd love to collaborate and work on this with you. And she was like, yeah, I think we should just do it, and let's go. And so then,
Isn't that great?
It was
okay,
just like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I guess that was that summer. So we started discussing like once a month. I'd read things, she'd send me stuff, and you know, I'd give notes and things. And then I came to LA about a month before we were gonna go out and actually shoot. And so I would meet with the actors, and we would talk about the characters, and sort of like, you know, things change in stories. You know, you have to, you know, make something where it becomes your own, and the actors too, like where they can relate to something. But yeah, it was great. I mean, she really wanted to support a female, and she really wanted to get her first project in the bag, and she made it happen. And so for that, I am grateful.
Well,
eternally.
you're all remarkable. Like, honestly, like, I mean, I think you can just teach everyone today, you know, filmmakers, that you made, not only did you make a feature film, you made your first feature film in 13 days.
Yeah.
In the desert,
yeah.
You know, with all these, you know, incredible people. And what I loved what your actresses said last night was that, you know, when they, obviously everything was very tight because you are making a feature in 13 days, but when they had a moment, they were working on stunts, and they were interacting and discovering ideas together of how they can collaborate. And I thought, you've got a great team. Like, honestly, team is everything, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you know, at every stage of that, almost 2 weeks out there, every department would come up to me and just be like, we're here for you, Heidi. Like, we want to see, like, we get your vision and we think this is so awesome. So we want to support you. And that was like, kept it going. Cause I'm of course trying to steer a ship and, be a captain every day. And yet at the same time, you want people to feel like, wow, this is something cool. Like, I got to bring my A game and I want to, I get what you're doing and what you're going for. And so that just was really the fuel that I needed, because it was like, this is everybody's first calling card, all the actors, almost everyone in every department. And they were all there because they thought, the idea that I had to take this, small film of this like kind of horror story and sort of make it more just trippy and psychological. They loved that. So, it's everything. I mean, having actors and a team that wants to try and work and do and bend for you, it just makes everything possible. And so, that was the experience there. It was like, wow, we're doing something cool. It seems like almost impossible every day, and then every day we're getting through. So like, let's just go for it, And
you're fueling each other, which is the great. You lift each other, you build each other, and you create this family on set. Obviously,
That's very important to me. I mean, I'm super tight with, I'm just a warm, tight person, and I've been in this field a long time. And the first thing you have to understand, it's collaborative. It's like, without one person there in their department, it's impossible, and that's why, the rules of cinema have been around for 100 years and they don't really change. It's because, every role in every department is super important, and so that was just really great of having this kind of nimble team be there, but they were all at their A game and wanting to try, the gaffer trying to light, some new gel for me or do something cool to make it more trippy. And,
there's so many things that a film, isn't there, that make it what it is, and everyone's so important,
Everybody is so important. And we were in a very tight space, and that was very difficult, because shooting
like?
in a home is fantastic. You can utilize nooks and crannies, but the home really was like this one room and this one other room. And so, and I had 4 girls. They were almost in every single scene. There was very few singles or even just 2 people talking. It was predominantly these 4 girls almost in every shot together.
Yeah,
and
it's incredible.
You start to really realize, like, this is not easy to have 4 people in a setup all the time and make it not look like we're just sort of standing in the same place, like always, So, it was incredible challenges that make me feel very experienced and sort of like what is it? Indefensible? No, invincible. Invincible. I feel invincible. Having gotten through this process from A to Z, there's just nothing I can't do between all the stunts.
I was going to say, talk about the stunts, because
that was the craziest part.
But talk about, like, I love it when a filmmaker comes in and it's like, I'm gonna, I want to reach new heights. I want to challenge myself to something I've never done before. And you had all these stunts, and
they were so difficult. That was the hardest part for me, and the part that sort of I wasn't sleeping at night about. Where it's like, oh fuck, like, we got to do a fight scene tomorrow. Like, I've never fought anybody in my life. And that's the part where indie filmmaking, it's difficult. I mean, you realize, I have a friend who's a huge filmmaker, and just talking about his process and knowing, like, he's on set, he has 3 writers writing and doing, like, rewriting the script as you're on set, as you're doing everything. I mean, you have teams of people helping and changing and manipulating things, when you're on a super high level. On this level, it was sort of like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this girl to, like, hit her with a flashlight over her head and knock her out. And then, like, where do I go from there and get this new angle, and how do I make it feel frenetic and crazy and
sure
register and nobody gets hurt. And and there wasn't, I think, moving forward, I would have a stronger team of people helping in the
you
stunt.
did it.
Yeah,
you did it. You fooled us that you had issues or troubles or that was new. We thought you were going to be doing it for years, so don't even worry about that.
Thank you. I look forward to doing stunts again, but they are very challenging and they eat a lot of time. So it's like going over someone smacking someone can take like an hour,
Yeah.
you know, of just like, don't hurt her and
Yeah.
do this. And then the camera's going to like move like this.
Yep.
And, you know, it's not easy.
It's not easy. Well,
time suck as well.
the time suck, but
a
you
big time suck.
did it, and hopefully it'll
Thank
just get
you.
easier as the process goes
I
along.
think so,
You know,
for sure.
As you said, this is like, you know, real special because it's your, you know, feature directorial debut.
Yes.
Having it like, you know, up on the big screen. What is
That was
that? What is that? NewFilmmakers LA, you're sitting there and you've got an audience and you've got a very lovely, lively audience who are just so excited for your film and really there and up for it. What is that feeling like?
Well, I have to say, I don't know what this theater was called, where you have your festival,
The
but
South Park Center, yeah.
it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's a great space. It's a gigantic space, so I was
Yeah.
like a little afraid, like, what if nobody comes, you know?
You got a great
That
crowd
feeling,
in,
but we
my
actually had a
goodness.
pretty nice crowd,
Yeah.
and you know, there's such a different feeling when you're watching something with an audience. It's like you roll with them and feel it, and sort of. It's almost, you know, I guess if I could, I would have test screeners before,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's what people do because you understand what the audience is feeling, and then you're like, oh, I would tweak this, or oh, I wish there was another beat here for that. And, you know, of course, as an artist, I think it's just so hard to relinquish something and put it out in the world. You're just always wanting to tweak and change and fix and make better. But at the same time, as my first feature and as just, you know, an artist that wants to grow and change, it's like if I don't put it out there, I'm never going to get to the next thing. And so a lot of it is having the balls to just be like, you know what, just take it and judge it and do what you want with it. But I'm like, I threw it up out of me and it's out there now, you know? And so, you know, seeing it with an audience makes it real and makes me realize like, wow, this is beautiful and I can affect people and, you know, have an emotional journey with an audience. And then part of me is like, oh my God, I got to run away and hide in the bathroom and not throw up because it's like too much. So
all at the same time, right?
all at the same time. So I was like partially hiding to like, I couldn't handle it. And then partially like, I love feeling what the audience is feeling. And then also just letting something go of like, this was this time and place and it got me to this place and I can't wait for the next thing. And let me put it out to the world so people can start understanding who I am.
It's great because it's your style. It's
very my style. Yeah.
You know, and it's lovely when you can stamp on your style as a director, as a filmmaker.
Yes.
So that when we see, it'll be like, oh, it's a Heidi Hartwig movie. There you go.
Yes,
you know
I feel that is coming. You know, I've now subsequently have made another film. Sadly, it's just a short, but you know, it just became this elevated experience of like, how can I twist it and make it psychological and sort of like. I've been calling it, this is a queer horror film that I made, but also folk horror and just, I really enjoy this genre and feel like, you know, there's so many psychological breakdown type of stories that men and women have. And I think from a female perspective to watch, you know, women have a breakdown and it's just been such a like, an obvious thing like, oh, that's what women do. They're just like crazy and over there and falling apart. And so like, fine, we can take that stereotype, but let me tell it in this new cool way. And so that excites me about that genre and my next project. And it's just, you know, there's so much room for exploration within the psych horror.
We got, and speaking of which, I mean, you know, we at the Filmmakers every single month celebrate people right here on our doorstep, locally, globally, male, female, from every continent, every single month. But it was a special because we are celebrating Women's Independence Month. It's such a movement right now in this industry and beyond. And like to do this in the presence of like women in film, United Nations, the Alliance of Women Directors, and then obviously involved in this sort of hashtag time to step up, for men to actually step up and bridge those gaps and join women in bridging those gaps. What was that feeling like being part of that particular event with all that going on?
That part is so fantastic and it's just such a cool time. You know, it's like you hear of your, you know, parents' generation, like sort of getting out there in the 60s and fighting some kind of fight for you and, you know, kind of coasting. You know, I'm someone that like things have come easy, you know, I haven't had to deal with what, you know, my mother-in-law dealt with in the office of like, okay, I have this job, but like, you know, I might have to do this, that, and the other to keep it, or like how can I look? And, you know, just that 9 to 5 story. And so, you know, I just really applaud you because you're really standing behind it. And it's just, it feels authentic, and it's just, I'm just so grateful to you, really, that you care that much to make people understand that while, yes, this like women's fight has been going on, I think Hollywood and the film system, it's something that's overlooked. Like you don't really think about the fact of like who's making films, who's working in films, who's holding cameras, who's able to hold lights and things and put things up. And it's like, of course it should be a more equal playing field.
Yeah.
But of course it's sort of been this men's club forever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just, the time has come for people to recognize like, wow, there are other avenues to tell stories, and they should be from a female's perspective and be given chances. I mean,
100%.
you know, and it's kind of funny. It's like men can make a film and kind of do a shitty job, and they'll still get another gig and another chance to make another movie or something.
It's ending right here, okay? Sentence, no.
Yeah,
Clapping board.
exactly.
Done.
Time's up.
Time is up. Time to step up. Time is up. Here we go.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm very excited and want to utilize that wave and feel really empowered to do so. Of like, yeah, I'm a fucking female storyteller. Let me own that, as opposed to feeling shame or belittle myself that I can't call myself a filmmaker when actually I can, and it's really awesome. And let me inspire others. I mean, one person who came out of the film yesterday, she was so excited. You know, she's goes to my alma mater. She's an Emerson student, and she was just like, it's just so cool to see a female filmmaker make a feature, and I'm so excited to be here, and can I talk to you? And it's like, yeah, there needs to be more examples of that, that it's possible to run out and make a feature and do it and make it happen. And so that is very exciting. And
you're such an inspiration, Heidi. Like, honestly, it's one thing to be a great director and have great talent and great vision, but it's another thing to inspire others. Like, you know, now that you've achieved this and made this happen, what one piece of advice, you know, could you give to share for anyone that was just looking up to you, aspiring to you, wanting to maybe make that step? What piece of advice do you have that you may have been given or that you have yourself?
I think believe in your ideas, and if you have an idea that you're passionate about and it just bothers you all the time, then it's good, and there's a possibility to make it happen because it's in there and it's bothering you and it's coming up and it's constant. Believe in your ideas and your abilities, and it will manifest. It will happen. I willed the idea of someone giving me a chance to make a movie because that was what I was constantly talking about in my mind. And the place, from all the experience and all the things I had done in my past, brought me to this place where I was finally ready to carry something like that. And yeah, I think it's just believe in your ideas.
Believe in your ideas. If
Believe
you're
in your
you're
ideas.
not watching this and not inspired to go off and make your dreams come true, then I don't know what else you need to get. Because Heidi, that was wonderful, wonderful, Wonder Valley. Thank you so very much. Welcome to the New Filmmakers family. We're looking forward to seeing much more of your work and looking forward to your next film. So thank you, Heidi. Heidi, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.